Welcome in, everybody. Dave Salentano here with Guitar Tricks on Wednesday night. Already got some folks here popped in. All right, cool to see some of the usual suspects. All right, hello, Steve and Dave and Terry, Peter. Cool deal. All right, and another Steve. All right, good stuff. Roland, hey, man, yeah. The usual suspects, the usual group of guitar players. Hey, last week we ended our 7-week series on the blues guitar subject. We can get back into that later on too. There's plenty more stuff we can learn about the blues that I can help everybody with. But for the next 8 weeks, we're going to work on something that a lot of guitar players, and I know this because I've been teaching quite a few years since I was 20, so over 30 years, we'll put it that way. And I notice a lot of my students pay more attention to their left hand than what's going on with their right. And I almost sense that they feel, and I've even had a few say, what does it matter if I do a downstroke or upstroke? 'Cause it still sounds the same. Well, it kind of does. And then during these 8 weeks, we're going to work on the right hand. And of course, we're going to have some left hand stuff going on too, but we're going to work on all kinds of picking techniques, which are really good to know for every kind of music you like, whether it's classical music. Well, if you're doing classical, you would finger pick. But if you're doing like Spanish style, with some of the more modern guitar players tend to play with a pick on the Spanish style. Of course, country, rock, blues, heavy metal, you really in jazz too. You got to get the hang of these picking techniques. So what we're going to do today and next week is work on some of the most basic, or not some, but the most basic picking technique, which is alternate picking. So today's curriculums focus on all alternate picking. And to keep it simple for everyone, because I know some of the students, some of the folks watching might be a little new to guitar. So this is going to be just on one string. We're going to do exercises on one string. And then, of course, we can do that on each of the other 5 strings. So we're going to focus on one string at a time today. And then next week, we'll work with starting to cross the strings. And then the following weeks, we're going to get into economy picking, sweep picking, all things involved with picking the right hand, hybrid picking, probably forgetting a few. Also, we're going to talk about the angle of the pick as well. Oh, we're also going to deal with string skipping. Okay, because that's a big deal too with a lot of students. They have a hard time when they have to jump from like the 6th string to the 4th, or the 6th string to the 3rd string. So hence the name string skipping. So let's get on with it, folks. So just warming up with a little picking exercise like I have, for example, 1. And by the way, too, just so everyone knows, you expand the text box that's underneath our YouTube video, and you're going to see an area where you can download the curriculum. Okay, it's just one page. Let me get my Post-its off it. One page. It's week 1 of 8 for picking techniques. Go ahead and check that out. I'm going to also be playing and showing everybody's other stuff too that's not necessarily on the paper, but you can always watch the video again later to grab it. Okay, so let me just see. And feel free, folks, to comment. If you got tips, suggestions, go ahead and throw them up on the comment here, because I will pay attention and read everything too as I'm teaching. I'll take little breaks and just kind of read through some of the comments. Here we go. Let's see what else we got. We got Russ here and Richard. Hey, Bill, a former student from back in the day, a couple years back. Bill, I remember you. Cool. M&G, Jim's here. Right on. Greetings. Good. Joshua, cool deal. Semret, if I'm pronouncing that right. Hello. And then Second Chance, Marianne. Hi. Good to see you. I see you got some good posts of your band playing around and doing a lot of gigs. Good for you guys and ladies in the band. Good deal. Zane, cool. And Theen, hello. Dennis, all right. And then Zemret saying, I am a beginner and I'm using aquatic guitar. Hopefully your lesson helps me a lot. Thank you for sharing lessons. You're welcome. All right. Cool. So yeah, what you want to do is grab your pick, and even acoustic players, it's fun to finger pick on acoustic guitar, but we're going to focus on just playing with a pick, and you definitely need a pick if you're going to be strumming. So we're not going to work on strumming techniques. That's a separate, we can do that later. But for the next 8 weeks, we're going to work on picking techniques. We're just picking one string at a time and just building our chops with that. So the first exercise, the example one, I've only got 2 on the sheet there, but I'm going to throw a few others out too. But the first thing we want to do, just to get the hang of alternate picking, that's just where you're going to pick with your right hand. It's going to go down. We're going to stay on the first string for a little bit here, folks. We're going to go down on the first string and then an upstroke without hitting the second string like I just did, all right? Like this. Just get the hang of that. Just a back and forth motion. And also, too, folks, I'm going to mention to you about how to hold the pick. There's several ways to hold it. I used to hold it like this, kind of like a pencil or a pen, right? And I used to pick with the pick slightly angled up like this. When I was in high school, one of my schoolmates was Marty Friedman. He's over in Japan right now, but he used to play in Megadeth. But he was, I believe he was in 12th grade in high school, and I was in 10th grade. So I didn't really know him too well, but I was playing guitar at that point, and he was playing guitar too. He was really good. And my friends were all saying, hey, you should reach out to Marty, see if he gives lessons. I sure did. And, we were both teenagers. I took a few lessons from him back in the day. We grew up in Maryland, on the East Coast here of America. And I took some lessons with him, but he's got a really cool picking style, which he kind of picked like that. So I started doing that from picking up on him. And you can definitely do that. But since then, and I'm always trying to get better on guitar, and there's not always one way to do something on guitar. So anytime someone tells you this is the only way to do it, they're wrong. There's always several good ways. Okay. So that's one way. And obviously Marty proves that way of picking, it works for him. But after a while of that for myself, I felt like I hit roadblocks in my technique. So I started checking out the picking grips of a lot of other players, and a lot more of them tend to hold it not like that, but almost like they're cupping their index finger like this, and then they're placing the pick on it. Let me get that on there so you can see it. Okay. And then it's kind of on your first knuckle, and it points out perpendicular to that where your knuckle hangs down, where the fingernail is, where the last joint in your finger hangs down. So I kind of do that so the pick comes out perpendicular, and I grab it with my thumb. And from doing that, instead of the angle of the pick being like this, if you can see my pick, instead of it being like this to the string, it's more like that with the way I hold it. Okay. You can't see it when I hold it that way, but it is at that angle. And that's really important too, everybody. When you're picking single notes, you might want to think about angling the pick slightly against the string, because that way the edge of the pick will slice over the string a little bit easier. Now, we don't want to play like this, of course, all right, but just a little bit of an angle. And then, of course, when we're strumming the guitar, it's better to strum with the flat side of the pick. You can definitely... Okay, that's, when I strum, and most people strum, they kind of strum with the flat side of the pick. But when we pick single notes, you might want to think about angling it a little bit. That will help just decrease the amount of pick mass hitting the string, and it eliminates playing with that big flat edge of it. It's kind of like when you think about like a knife, like a butter knife, or cutting a piece of meat or bread. Okay, you don't cut with the flat edge of it. You cut a little bit with the blade, and it goes right through. So that's kind of what we want to do, is just play a little bit on the edge and also on the tippy tip of the pick. Okay, we don't want to dig in too deep, because then it takes longer for the pick to hop over, to slice over the string. So try to play on the tippy tip and angle the pick a little bit. And we'll talk more about the angle thing as time goes on in the next few weeks. But that's a big point right there. Okay, and then King 50's here, Barry's here. Hello, hello. All right, and Theodore, cool. All right, some more folks piping in, tuning in here. Okay, so on that first example, just get used to alternating your pick back and forth. Down, up, down, up, down, up. And then also I do it from the wrist. I think that's the best, most common. Now, some people tend to do this, where they kind of pivot their fingers. But for me, I can't move my fingers fast enough. It tends to go faster from the wrist. Like that. And then I've seen some other guitar players grip it, and then they do it from their elbow. Okay, for me, it works best from the wrist. And what I'll do also is anchor the heel of my hand, the palm back here, on the kind of bridge saddles. And I kind of mute the thicker strings that I'm not playing, and that kind of keeps them quiet so I can just focus on the higher strings. Of course, if I'm down on the 6th string or the 5th, I kind of take my palm off of the strings and I just lean it on the kind of the bridge or the edge of the pickup a little bit. More or less the bridge, though. Okay. Also, too, I've just got a little bit overdrive on it. We don't want to have a boatload of distortion because that kind of creates extra noise, string noise, and things. Although it sounds really cool for some rock and heavy metal type of music. Let's just kind of shoot for a clean tone, because that way you stripped away all the clothing off of the note, and then we're going to focus on just getting nice, clean tones and nice, clean pick attack, and not sloppiness. Okay, so let's go with example 1 there. I just taking an eye at the comments for a sec. Okay, so we're going to do is get comfy with just alternate picking, but that gets kind of boring to sit there and just do that. Even if you're doing it real fast. On one note, you can do it on other strings too. Okay, that might be good to practice on all 6. Now let's give a little melody so that we have a nice little musical idea, a nice little etude to practice our alternate picking. So the first 3 notes that we're going to play, actually we're going to play each note 4 times, but in bar 1, it's going to be the open 1st string played 4 times, down, up, down, up. Then we go to the 1st finger on the 4th fret, 1st string, pick that 4 times. And then up to the pinky on the 7th fret, pick that 4 times. Okay? Like that. And just get comfy with picking that out. You're going to use your index finger on the 4th fret, pinky on the 7th. And if you're wondering the fingering, if you're looking ahead, on the left side of the little black dots up in the music staff, even if you can't read music, I put a number on the left side. That's the finger assignment for that note that I would recommend. Okay, so we're going to go 0, 4, 7. And in bar 2, it's the same thing. Okay, so we're going to do that twice. And then we're going to jump up to bar 3, goes fret 5, 8, 7. Your index finger on the 5th fret, pinky on the 8th fret, ring finger on the 7th fret, okay? And then the last bar goes down to the 2nd line. We're going to play the 5th fret with your index finger, shift quickly back to the 3rd fret on the 1st string with your index finger 4 times, then shift back to the 1st fret with your index finger 4 times, and then we go open, and then you're done. Okay, so all together, slowly, it's this. Now, I don't have a repeat sign on it, but what's kind of good to do, and this is how I really practice it, is I'll play the first 4 bars twice, then I'll end it on the open E string. So I'll go like this. Repeat. never weighs on. Actually, just at the end. My right hand never varies or wavers off of the alternate picking. I never do 2 downs or 2 ups in a row here. Everything is down up. It's kind of like walking. Think about when you learn to walk as a kid. All right, or if you can remember that. You know, we got to be able to walk slowly first before we can start to run and go faster. So think about this when you're walking or running. You ever try to do that, but take 2 right steps in a row or 2 left steps? All right. Unless we've had a few too many beers, most of us won't do that because it's more efficient and you can go faster if you go right, left, right, left, right, left. That's alternate picking. It's probably the most efficient way of playing any of the stringed instruments. Okay. And now we're only talking about kind of playing fast on 1 or 2 strings. Once we get involved with sweep picking, that's a different animal altogether. We're going to talk about that. We're not doing down, up, but we're doing a whole bunch of downs in a row, a whole bunch of ups. I'll talk about that in a few weeks when that comes up. Okay. Let me take a little break here for a sec and read. Sir Don's here. All right. Good to see you, Sir Don. Yep. And Chris K. All right. Hello. Oh, David's asking a question here. Eddie had an unusual picking angle with arm and wrist when he picked the same string really fast. He changed his angle, I think. Yeah, and also too, Dave and everyone else, you notice when Eddie does that tremolo thing where he does interruption, you know that lick? Okay, he's alternate picking, but he does this thing where he picks with his middle, or he holds the pick with his middle and thumb, which is really bizarre. And I don't know anyone else that does that. But who's going to argue that Eddie's doing it wrong? You know, give me a break. All right. So for him, though, that worked great. All right. And then you also, if you're going to do some tapping, your index finger is ready to go. So that particular thing worked out for him. And he did have like an angle to his pick. If you ever watched some videos live of him playing, when he goes into his tremolo picking, you'll notice that he's got the pick at an angle. He's never doing it flat to the string. And just for an experiment, everybody, if you got your guitar on, try to pick with the flat edge, the pancake flipper, spatula. Try to play with the flat edge of that on pretend your pick is that, and try to play like that. For me, I already feel the resistance. I can't really go too fast. And the pick keeps getting stuck. It's like I'm trying to go over a speed bump and it keeps slowing me down. Okay. But if I angle the pick slightly, like I mentioned earlier, and just play on the tippy tip, because we don't want to go too deep into the strings, because then you also get this sound. You hear the sound of my pick scraping the string? That's because I'm too deep into the strings. If I just tickle the string with the tippy tip of it on the angle, I don't know if you can see that, but when I pick, there's the string. It's hard to see the strings in this because of the lighting, but I'm just playing on the very tip of the pick. So the angle of the pick is like that. If I try to pick like this with it flat or parallel with the string, it's pretty hard. And I think most of everybody out there would agree. Okay. So yeah, Dave, that's a good point. And then people, feel free to comment if you see some other guitar players with a different picking technique, angle when they play, or how they hold the pick. Feel free to make a comment because we all want to know. This is great learning for everybody. Hi, Gina. Good to see you're a new name here. Cool. And then my knees hurt. Love it. That is how you turn 2 steps with 1 foot. Yeah, exactly. That I was talking about taking 2 right steps in a row or 2 left. Bill, all right, cool. Thanks, Bill. Appreciate it. Hope you're doing good too over there and keeping busy with your guitar. And then my knees hurt says Eddie Van Halen and Marty Friedman have odd picking holding. Works well for them. Makes my head hurt looking at it though. Yeah, it does. But man, those 2 guys, I mean, a lot of great players out there. But what I'm going to do is just share with everyone what I do and what worked for me. And then can make your decision what works for you, but just give it a shot. Take what I'm doing here for these 8 weeks in the picking and see if you can apply some of it, all of it, part of it to your chops. Oh, and you know what? While we're doing this, everybody, on Guitar Tricks, because they're the company, online guitar lesson company that's sponsoring our classes, I'm going to post a few tutorials for everybody on alternate picking. And then each week for the next 8 weeks, I'm going to post a few links to some of the lessons they have on their site that pertain to what we're doing. So here's a really basic one for someone just starting out. And obviously you got to be a Guitar Tricks member to access it. If you're not a Guitar Tricks member, you might want to consider checking them out, because I know they've got some deals going on at different times. And I know they've got a money back guarantee. So if you're not satisfied with the site, let me get this posted for everybody. They can refund your money. But that's picking for super beginners with coming into this alternate picking. The first lesson is. The second lesson's a little slightly more advanced. All right, Roy's saying, oh, you're right. Yeah, Brian May from Queen, guitar player from Queen, supposedly use a coin as a pick. I think Billy Gibbons and ZZ Top might have even used I think he said he uses a peso. Hang on one sec. Yeah, this is good. The pick I use is kind of between a medium and a heavy, because if you're doing this type of stuff that I'll be showing everybody, you don't want a thin pick where it's really flappy and loose, because then it kind of loses the attack. You want to have a little bit of resistance when you pick, so it snaps the string. Doesn't break the string, but you get, a nice good attack on the string. And then My Knees Hurt says, I picked up some Jazz 3 picks recently. Yeah, exactly. I think I used to use Jazz 3s too, but now I switched to the Daba picks. The Jazz 3s are a little smaller. This is a Daba pick that's kind of like a Daba version of it, but I use the bigger Daba picks now. And those Jazz 3s are great. I just like the Daba ones only because the back end of it's this black rubber, and it helps me grip it, because sometimes those like the Fender picks are good too, but they're so slick and smooth. I kept losing them. It start to turn in my fingers a little bit when I'm playing, start to spin. You can't have that. But this black kind of rubber, like from a bike tire or a car tire, feels like it helps me have a good grip. Good point there about the picks. Yep. Yeah, and you know what? My Knees Hurt says, it took me way too long to try new pick sizes. Hey, you know what? My Knees Hurt. It's never too late to switch your techniques. Because I was picking that other way I mentioned earlier tonight for many, many years. And just in the last few years, I've switched over to this, and it just opened up the door to my picking technique. And I'm going, why didn't I do that earlier too? So, but just do it now. And, I know it feels like we're taking a few steps back. You might be feeling that way. And certainly I did, because to strum like this or to pick like this a while ago, it just felt really weird for me. But just practice it. Do it slowly. Make sure you got it right slowly. And that'll help your picking technique a lot once you kind of get used and comfy with it. Steve saying, it seems impossible to not be satisfied with Guitar Tricks. Oh, that's cool, Steve. Appreciate it. Yeah, I think it's a great site. I've been working with them for about 7 years now, and it's really good. They've got tons of lessons and songs, and now we've added the one-on-one lessons that some of us instructors on the site, I'm one of them, we can help you out specifically if you book a live lesson. In fact, I know about several of my students are here tonight chiming in, and I'm sure some of them are here too and just not commenting. But yeah, it's a great site, and we can help you one-on-one, because that way, for instance, myself, once I see the student play, hear them play, I can instantly make an assessment as to what we need to work on, what they need to work on, and give you some pointers right away, which is hard to do if we're only just talking in text like we're doing right here. Or if you're just watching YouTube videos, you don't really know if you're getting it right or not. So it's always good to have a coach or someone, an instructor that you can, a qualified instructor that you can go to once in a while, once a week, or, once every couple months, just to make sure you're on the right track. All right. That's really going to help you. It'd be worth it for everybody. Okay. All right. My niece heard saying I used to put skateboard grip. That's a great idea. I like that. And then Ed King. All right. Steve Langford saying Ed King. He was the guitarist in Leonard Skinner, right? For a short time. I think he co-wrote Sweet Home Alabama. But he's broke a lot of strings. All right. Interesting. Okay. And then King 50 saying EVH used 0.6 millimeter picks. Okay, Dunlop makes EVH picks as a texture. It feels like your fingers are Velcro to it. I love them. Yeah, I got those. In fact, ordered those same ones too. I've got them somewhere on my desk here. Yeah, here's one. It's got the little Eddie Van Halen signature on the back and the signature stripes on that side. Yeah, they're very cool picks. And then the back end of it's got that like tire tread grip. It's not rubber like the Davas, but it's the definitely get a good grip on it. Cool. All right. And then Joshua was saying he used a 0.96. That's a little bit thicker. Good, Joshua. And then Dave's saying I like the max grip, the 1.4. That's even thicker. Good deal, Dave. Yeah, the different experiment people too with the different thicknesses of pick, the different manufacturers. I've got bags of picks on my desk here and down below in my cabinets of all kinds of picks, because we're always on the quest for the one that feels the best. So just check them out. Okay, so what I would suggest on example 1, everybody, is once you feel comfortable doing this slowly and even, I would say do it twice, like I'm doing. Okay. Also consider this. We're talking about alternate picking. Try to make the faster you go, the smaller downs and ups you got to do. Because if you're making these big swings with your pick, when I'm doing it slow, and if you're doing it slow, of course you can swing it a little bit further. But as I go faster, see how it tightens up? See, the faster I go, the tighter I need to make the motions. I do a downstroke that just goes right past the string, but not really far. And then my upstroke, same thing, a tiny up without going too far above it. Definitely you don't want to get anywhere near the second string, and just go back and forth. Just practice tiny downs. And a good way to practice that, this is a little side note here, is right as soon as you do your down, try to touch the pick from the underside of the string like I just did to mute it. And now when you do your up, as soon as you go up, try to touch the string from above with the pick. That'll help you play tiny downs and ups. Okay, so metronome time, everybody. Got to do this stuff with a metronome. That's how you're going to increase your speed. So I'm going to fire mine up on my phone here real quick. Guitar Tricks has a metronome in their toolbox. But let's start with this right here. And since we're doing 4 notes per beat, those are 16th notes. Okay, I'm going to start at about 60. Okay, everybody can hear the click. And then 16th notes mean I'm going to play 4 notes per click. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Da 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 da. Musically, if you want to count it correct as correct terminology, we would go 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and okay, for each beat. You want to have a syllable that represents each subdivision of the beat. Okay, 1E and that's 4 syllables in beat 1, then 2E and etc. Okay, So here's 60 beats a minute. So we're going to go 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4. You know what? I'm sorry, folks. I meant to look at the time signature of this one. It's in 3/4. This is actually the melody from Malagueña. Okay. If I'm pronouncing that right, it's a Spanish classical song. It's in 3/4. So actually, we need to switch our time signature to 3/4. So now it's going to click 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 1E and a 2, 3. It's going to have 3 clicks like this. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Here we go. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a. And then repeat. Okay. Let's go a little bit faster. I'm going to jump up to, I'm going to just not to waste time here. I'm just going to jump up to 90. Usually what I recommend and what I do when I'm practicing myself and what I have my students do is once you get comfortable at a certain tempo, don't go from like 60 to 100, but go up 5 or 10 beats a minute faster. Okay, so from 60, go to 65 or 70. Do it gradually until you're making sure you're comfortable at each stage of the tempo increase. Because if you try to jump too fast to a higher speed, sometimes that ends up being sloppy. So we don't want to do that either. Okay, so let's try 90. Oh, it's a little bit quicker. 2, 3, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a. So that works, and it's just going to get your alternate picking going. Okay, now let me jump up. I'm going to go up 30 at a time, so I'm going to go up to 120. So I went 60 to 90 to 120. Let's check this out. So 4 per beat. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a ticka 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 ticka. Hear that? Okay. Now, I know some of us are saying, wait a sec, I can barely even play 4 notes in time in one beat. I'm going to show you how you can practice that in a slightly different manner in 1 sec. So I did 120. Let me boost it up to 150. It's going to be a little bit quicker. It's going to be hard to count. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4. All right. So I don't even bother trying to count that much. Tongue twister. But it's going to go. And if you did it right, you should always end on a down at the end, okay? So that's a pretty fast speed. If we go up to like 180 just for kicks and giggles, because 150 and plus 30 more. Okay, that might be a little quick for me right now, just because I'm not too warmed up. Let's go back to 170 and be honest with yourself too. If it doesn't sound tight and clean, don't keep playing it at that fast speed if it's sloppy, because what you're doing is practicing playing sloppy. We don't want to do that. As soon as I realize, hey, I'm not locking into the beat, stop, pull it back. Okay, here's 170, I mean. This should sound a little tighter. 1, 2, 3. One, two, three. Okay, you get the idea. Okay, it's got to be solid though. Okay, now if you're having a hard time playing 4 per beat, even down at the 60 tempo, okay, like this, watch, we'll go back to 60 to lock everyone in. Get away from that fast craziness. Here we go. If if you're having a hard time keeping it in time, playing 4 notes per beat, here's what you do. Switch it to double the speed. So we're going to go up to 120, but we're only going to play 2 notes per click. Okay, so watch this. It'll be 120 playing 2 notes per beat is exactly the same speed of picking as doing 4 notes per beat at 60. So here's 120, but not playing 4. We're going to play 2 like this. See how that works? So that's a neat little trick that helps out and this works when I do this with my students. It works almost all the time. So if you're having a hard time playing in time 16th notes, just double the speed, but only play 2 notes per beat. Okay. Hopefully that's a good tip for everybody. And then, Roy's saying something about Jeff Beck. What has he got here? Got his sound without the use of a pick. Yeah, totally, Roy. Yep. Jeff played with his fingers, and so does Mark Knopfler. You know, a lot of great guitar players that play with their fingers. Not quite as many as play with their picks, though, or plays with a pick. Yeah, but Jeff also, usually it's hard to play super fast with your fingers, although Mark Knopfler is an exception. Jeff Beck never really played super fast, but man, Jeff's tone, choice of notes, and his groove, and just he could get all kinds of sounds, coaxing sounds out of our 6 strings and piece of wood that most of us couldn't even dream of. Love everything Jeff did, definitely. And then my knees hurt saying, or the rubber strips they put on stairs. Yeah, that works too for helping your grip your picks. Good points there, everybody. And my knees hurt. Thank you for that. I'd put that on my picks. Then I learned how to attack the strings differently, and that helped the picks not spin on my fingers. Cool. All right, good tip. And then a new comment here. No dog rules. No dog rules. All right. I love it when they put all the words together, try to figure out what it says. Thunderstruck is another good song to work on picking. The intro. Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely, folks. We're talking about intros like, what is it? I think I always teach that with pull-offs. What is that? Cool. You know, another good one too, that was on the 2nd string, is what's that song from Iron Maiden, Wasted Years? It's something like that's another good one too. So folks, look up those songs, Thunderstruck's intro and Wasted Years, Iron Maiden. Those are 2 classic examples of picking alternate picking on 1 string. Although I always play Thunderstruck with pull-offs, but I'm pretty sure it is with picking every note. Yeah, good stuff. All right, good points there. Okay, cool. Oh, I see what you're saying. No dog rules. Yeah, it was AC/DC. Yeah, no biggie. It's cool. Dave is saying, ever wonder why Shred migrated to 25.5-inch scale necks on their guitars? All-tone wood, or perhaps easier to play fast. Of course, shorter scale are easier to bend unless you have a spongy Floyd. Yeah, well, the longer scale necks, like the Fenders and the strings are a little bit tighter. The Gibson's guitars are, I think, 24 3/4 inch, so they're a little shorter. They're 3/4 of an inch shorter from the nut to the bridge. So because it's more compact, you don't have to tune the strings as tight. So the strings are a little more spongy feeling on the Gibson guitars. I personally like that, and we can always use thicker strings to get a tighter feel, but I use 9-42 and I'm completely happy with it. Good point though, David. Yep, good point. And then Richard's saying, if you play a slide, do you change your technique? When you say pipeline, are you talking about what that? When I do the slide down, is that what you're talking about? If whatever works for you, yeah. For that one, I always like to do it with the pick pointed up, my old picking technique for that, for the pipeline. Yeah, that's just me personally, though, but just kind of keep it going. Oh, Bill saying Lindsey Buckingham was a finger picker. Yes, absolutely, Bill. You're right. All right, so we got Jeff Beck, we got Lindsey Buckingham from Fleetwood Mac, and we got Mark Knopfler from Dire Straits. All those guys played pretty much with their fingers, not picks. And then Second Chance Band, it's Marianne. She's saying, I think you missed my comment about the musician colleague using an old credit card as his pick. Very unusual. Oh, cool, Marianne. Yeah, dude, Marianne, I'm sorry. There you go. I see your comment up there. Yeah, I'm sorry. There's just a lot of comments tonight, and sorry I missed you. Thank you for restating that. Yeah, credit cards. Yeah, I've seen some students when they can't find a pick in their house when I'm teaching them, they'll just grab a credit card and play with the edge of that. Interesting. All right, cool. Cybridge saying, can you play Everlong? Yeah, but I'm not I need drop D for that. And then that's not really something tied into what we're doing right now. So, but yeah, I could do that. In fact, I transcribed it and I've teach that to some of my students occasionally. Roy's saying, what is the name of that Spanish song? Oh, that we're doing, for example, one, it's Malaguena, Malguena, I believe is what it is. And yeah. Okay, and then my niece Hurt says they used to sell credit card guitar pick. Punch. Right on. Yeah, the Malaguena I'll show you real quick. It's this one here. I got this Spanish guitar, a Cordoba, that I don't really finger pick too well, so, but Malaguena's go, it's very Spanish sound. So anyway, that's that little part that I just played you has hybrid picking too. We're going to work on that in a few weeks. Not necessarily Malagueña, but that technique where you play with your pick and you pluck with your fingers same time. All right, that's for another day, that guitar. Today, though, we are learning it on the electric, but all this stuff we're doing, we can definitely do on acoustic too. So I know there's some acoustic players out there. Cool. All right, cool. Oh, thanks, Steve. Appreciate it. Yeah, I love that Spanish style. In fact, I mentioned it before, but I'm taking lessons with a Spanish guitar player and who's really good, and he does a lot of gigs around town here. And I've been hanging with him. And in fact, I've been going. He invited me to play a few songs with him at some of his gigs. I've done that for about 3 or 4 times. Slowly working up a little tiny repertoire of songs that I can play with him. We're doing a neat kind of Spanish version of Hotel California. If you ever heard the Gypsy Kings version, this guy I'm taking lessons with plays like that, but he plays with a pick though. And that's what I kind of thought was cool, because he's actually a rock guitar player too, but he's really fell in love with the Spanish style. So he just adapted it. And it almost sounds like Paco de Lucia also too, but he's playing it all with a pick. And I'm more of a pick player too. So that's why I hooked up with him for some lessons and just to get some ideas behind the curtain, peek behind the curtain on what's going on with that alternate picking and that style of music. Cool. All right. Yeah, Marianne, Second Chance Band. Yes, I got that for my lessons, but also because I like the style. Eventually, I'm going to record some stuff in that style too, and then probably start teaching some of the ideas and concepts. But the neat thing with this picking we're working on, folks, is it applies to country music, rock and metal music, and that Spanish style that I just played. You can, if you need to have the speed and the chops, it's right there. So that's something I would play on that guitar, the Spanish one. It fits, it's over a Otmar Liebert song called Barcelona Nights. So I've worked up some little solos of my own to play along. That's one of the tunes I'll be doing when I play with that Spanish guitar player. So anyway, back to the ranch here, folks. I want to finish our sheet here. So start with just working on the first string. Now, what I would recommend is everything we're doing today, it's all on the first string. Do it on the second string too. So take Malagueña, or example 1, move everything up to the second string. You'll be in a different key, but you can still practice on the thicker strings. Like this. Try it on the third string. Fourth string. Always, too, when I'm warming up, everybody, I usually start with something like this, and I'll do it 3 different times. I'll play it one time super slow just to get all the muscles loosened up and picking. And then after I go through it, I'll speed up a little bit. And then a little bit quicker. And a little quicker. One more time. 2, 3. Okay, so it's good to start out slow. Make sure you're playing it exactly right and correct with the right picking, the right notes. All the notes sound good and clean. Okay, so let's go down to example 2. This one's going to involve your fingers a little more, and we're still going to alternate pick. Okay, and then let me read the comments real quick, and then I'm going to rip through this last example with everyone. Cool. Cool. Yeah, Steve's saying, does Alice Cooper still have a guitar shop there? I think he does out here in Phoenix. I know he lives out here, and I think he even does like a holiday all-star jam that my wife and I are going to try to go one of these years, maybe this coming holiday. Dave's saying, would love to hear Hotel California Spanish style. All right, Dave, well, maybe during these 8 weeks of our alternate picking, I'll pull that classical out and play a little bit of it for everybody. Yep, Rory's saying Roy Clark was good at Malagueña. Oh, he's scary good. That's where I got this part when I was doing the slap. Sounds better on the nylon string because when I bang with my thumb, you really hear the knock. It's hard to really hear it on this solid body guitar. But Roy does that, and I didn't create that. I just actually learned what Roy did and inserted it into my version of it. But Roy was scary good, man, and fast too for a country bluegrass type of player. He was scary good. That style of music requires those chops. All right, cool, Steve. Yeah. Dave's saying, playing your exercise, I've found myself playing with more of the side of the pick and less of the tip while holding it looser to get faster. Cool. All right, Dave. Whatever works. There's never one right way to do this, folks. I'm just trying to show you what works for me, show you some options, and just give you, some tips that I've learned on my music and guitar journey, just like you all are on. And my knees hurt says, I'm in a hotel room for work this week, but I brought travel guitar so I can lay on the bed and alternate pick all evening. Oh, sweet, man. Do that. Get that down. My knees hurt. All right, cool. Steve saying Spanish style and electric sounds good too. Yeah, absolutely does. Cool. All right, so let's knock out example 2, everybody. So you got that. Okay, this one, the pattern is established in the first 6 notes. All right, so the pattern goes like this. On the first string, we're going 5, 7, 8, 7, 5, 0. That's it. And we do that twice per bar. Okay, and before we move on to the next bar, let's talk about the rhythm. Example 1, we were 16th notes. That means 4 notes per beat. Example 2, though, is triplets. That means 3 notes per beat, and it's in 4/4 time. So I'm switching my metronome to 4/4, and I'm going to tuck it back to 60 here because I'm going to demonstrate the metronome in a few seconds. So take it one bar at a time. The first one outlines, or doesn't really outline because it's not technically an arpeggio, but it follows A minor. So when you hear that, try to hear 1, 2, 3, da 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 da, and then counting that as 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. Then for the E in the next bar, we're going to do the same idea, moving back a fret and play frets 4, 5, 7. Okay, and then the next bar says E7 over it. We're going to move up to the 7th fret and play 7, 8, 10 the same way. So it's kind of like we're going up 3 notes of the scale, then back down the same 3 in reverse. And then the last note's always an open string. It's like a drone or a pedal point in our melody here, okay? So do the E7 one twice. And then back to the next bar says A minor again. It's just like the first one, but we'll only do it one time. And then we end on the 5th fret first string. Okay, so that's the first 4 bars of example 2. Let's see that together, and then we'll dissect and go through the last 4 bars. So first one, that's A minor. Here's E, E7, A minor. Okay, now the next one's D minor. We're going to jump way up to the 10th fret on the first string, go 10, 12, 13, and back down. And the fingers to use, folks, remember I mentioned earlier, all the numbers that are up here on the left side of the little black dots are the finger assignment for that particular note that I would recommend. Okay, so on the D minor, we're using index, ring, and pinky. Do that twice. And then on the bottom line, we got A minor. This time, A minor is going to be frets 8, 10, and 12. E7, 7, 8, 10. But check it out. I do E7, 7, 8, 10. And in the second half of that bar, I jump back and do 4, 5, 7. So it goes. And then the last bar is A minor one time. And then end on the A. So from the D minor part, sounds like this. A minor, E7, A minor. So all together. Sometimes I'll even play the D minor one again, from the D minor to the end again. So if you played those chords in the background, A minor, E major, E7, I'll get it right, and then back to A minor, and then D minor, A minor. I think I'm a little out of tune. Hopefully you guys will forgive me. Let's try it again. A minor. It's a little better. Okay, it goes A minor, E major, E7, A minor, and then D minor, A minor, E7, A minor. It's a nice little chord change. In fact, it's kind of a Spanish chord change that I just came up with that melody to play over it. Real quickly here, I'm going to lock it down with the metronome in a sec, but let me just read these comments. I know we're almost done. Cool. Yep, Joshua, you're welcome, man. I'm going to do a couple more minutes here. I want to play with a metronome for everybody, and then we'll wrap it up. Cool. All right, so let me do the metronome real quick, and I'll read the comments because it looks like everyone's starting to say goodnight. Okay, so here it is at 60, and we're in 4/4 time, so it's 3 notes per beat, 4 beats per bar. 3, 4. Okay, let's go up to 90. We'll cut to this real quick here. Turn that down a sec. 1, 2, ready, go. Go up to 120. And if you can't do the tempos I'm playing, slow it down until you got it at the tempo you can play it at, okay? I'm just trying to give an illustration for the folks that want to advance their tempo, what it'll sound like. 3, 4. Let's try 150. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, it's for kicks and giggles. Let's go up to 180. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, there you go. Now, if you're having trouble keeping that in time, switch your tempo, your time signature to 3/4, okay? And then slow down the metronome to like, say, 100 beats a minute. And what you're going to do is just play one note per click. Like 1, 2, 3. Make sure you're playing right with the click. This is good if you're having a hard time keeping with the metronome. You get the idea, okay? So I'm going to wrap it up here tonight. Okay, good stuff, everybody. Let me just read the comments and I'll sign out. Cool. Steve's My Knees Hurt says, this is fun. I'm glad. Stumble across your stream. Yeah, wheedly deedly all night. That's what it sounds like. Yeah, exactly. Steve, all right. Good. Glad you are joining, Steve. Peter. Peter's saying his session was a bit more challenging, which is good to build up speed and accuracy. Yeah. And the next 7 weeks might be a little challenging too, but I'm going to try to cover all the bases. I'll try to have some easy stuff for folks just starting out and different levels, but I know there's some really good players that have, let me say, really experienced players that are watching where just doing the simple stuff might not be enough for them. So I'm trying to cover all the bases. All right, Terry, you're welcome, man. Thanks. And then, or you're welcome. And Danny, yep, you're welcome. Theodore, good deal. Second Chance Band, cool. Yep, very good. Second Chance, Marianne. Glad you could stop by too. Have a good week. And then Zane's saying, all right, cool. Zane, yeah, tune in for the next 7. We're going to go deeper in this picking stuff and show you some other concepts there. Richards, thank you very much, Richard. My knees hurt. You subscribe to the channel. I think this time I'm actually using it at work, but I hope to catch you next time. Yep. And then, by the way, my knees hurt. You can always watch these sessions not live, but after the fact on Guitar Tricks channel, YouTube channel, Guitar Tricks YouTube channel. They've got all the Wednesday night classes on there. Once I do them, they go there, and then you can just watch them later. Okay, Steve. Yep. Excellent. Glad you like it, Steve. Bill, all right. You're the best. Love your focus at 180. Yeah, well, you got to, when it's that fast, you want to be tight with it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be playing it at 180 if I fall apart. But thank you, Bill. Thank you. Great metronome tips too. All right, Russ, good. I'll definitely, hopefully that's my job, is to give everyone some tips, things I learned along the way and things I'm working on along the way too. I'm still learning too, everybody. There's never an end. There's always more to learn. My knee says, I find moving my whole body, and when the click helps me lock in the beat. Yeah, if that helps. I'm usually tapping my foot. I don't know if you probably can't see it or hear it too much, but I oftentimes tap my foot when I'm playing. Good stuff. All right, King 50. Thanks, man. Yep. Yep. All right, Steve, go for the wheedly deedly. Yep. All right. Welcome, Dave, Steve. All right, everyone. Have a great night, and we'll see everyone next Wednesday night. Peace. Take care. Keep them fingers flying, man. Keep practicing. All right. See ya. Bye.